British Prime Minister Boris Johnson remains engulfed in scandal this week as yet another lockdown party, how many years he's had, has been revealed. In what must count as one of the worst birthday surprises ever, ITV in the UK have revealed today that Carrie Johnson, the British Prime Minister's wife, threw Boris Johnson a surprise birthday party during the middle of the UK's first lockdown in 2020. This revelation brings the number of parties held at Downing Street during that first lockdown to 18. Joining us now to discuss this and much more is Senator for Queensland, James McGrath, who worked with partying Boris Johnson when he was the Mayor of London. James, welcome to Inside the News. Was it party when you were there?
No, it wasn't party. It was a lot of work trying to get Boris elected as Mayor of London. That being said, we did used to have cocktail Fridays where I found out one of the old campaign staff used to be a bartender, and I got this bloke to each week to have a different cocktail for us of a drink, gin and tonic or something as simple as that. But it was pretty hard work, so I'm a bit surprised by all this party central.
Well, it has been probably the most difficult week of Johnson's premiership. You knew him as a canny politician, a brilliant politician. Can he survive this scandal, James?
Boris said before becoming Prime Minister, his chances of becoming Prime Minister were as likely as being reincarnated as an olive. I would say his chances of staying on as Prime Minister for 6 to 12 months are as likely as him being reincarnated as an olive. He's in a lot of trouble, but never underestimate Boris. There's also no obvious successor to replace him. The Tory party would sort of fall apart in terms of the different groups who would want to try and put their person into Downing Street. And it all depends on this report by someone called Sue Gray. If that report clears him, then he's right to go. But if there's any ambiguity or is found to have misled Parliament or the more parties come out, then you're going to see Boris, sadly, sometime in the next 12 months, pack up his bags and leave Downing Street. And I think politics will be poorer for it.
Well, there's a hilarious suggestion in The Spectator Australia based on Mark Stein's recommendation that Tony Abbott replace Boris Johnson because Tony Abbott is a POM after all. So there you go. You said there are no Conservatives to replace him, but there's one that we can think of. I'll be talking to Terry Barnes and Rebecca Weiser about that later on. But James, we've also had, if that wasn't enough trouble for Boris, we've also had this former cabinet member, Nusrat Ghani, who has claimed that her, quote, Muslimness was raised as an issue in her sacking in 2020. Another scandal for Boris. How will he wriggle out of this one? What do you make of it?
Well, I don't think Boris needs to wriggle out of this one because Boris has a really strong record on promoting black and Asian and minority and ethnic politicians within the Conservative Party. He had a strong record when he was Mayor of London, and it's disappointing that this politician has alleged that another politician has made these comments to her. But you look at Boris's top team, his Chancellor of the Exchequer is Rishi Sunak, who's of what we call Asian background. The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, of Asian background. Same with the Home Secretary. So Boris is colourblind when it comes to making sure he promotes people based on their ability rather than their background. My time in the Tory party, I never saw any Islamophobia or anything like that. Maybe there are other issues behind this, but this is something where Boris has a strong record. But what it shows is there's a cell of people who have been quite mendacious and evil in their desire to get rid of Boris and put someone else in. And I think that's probably what's driving these allegations.
Well, James, Boris kind of led the way with all the lockdowns. We saw all those London lockdowns, a lot of problems there that have resurfaced thanks to the partygate. But, and maybe these two things are related, you can tell me. In England last week, they're now saying there will be no more masks. Vaccine passes, thank goodness, are a thing of the past or will be. Working from home will be scrapped. The UK looks like leading the world in living with COVID by scrapping all the mandatory rubbish. What do you make of that?
Oh, brilliant. Bring it on. We need to do it here in Australia also. Boris at his heart is a libertarian, and there are many news reports when COVID first hit the UK about his reluctance to impose lockdowns, but he accepted the advice that was given to him by the medical experts. So he would be most happy about this, and so are his fellow Englanders. And I hope to see here in Australia we stop the business of having to check into places, the fact that we have these vaccine mandates and all this other business that certain people, especially on the left, are using to control us here in Australia. So where England and London leads, I hope Australia follows.